Welcome to the Calsoft podcast series. This is your host Mark Rodrigues. With me today I have Virendra Kumawat, who's going to be talking about the use of Paramiko with Windows clients. Hi Virendra.
Hi Mark. Hi Mark.
It's good to have you on the show.
Thanks. I'm also pleased to be here.
So I want to quickly introduce Virendra before we get into the topic. He's a senior principal QA engineer here with us at Calsoft. He has close to 8 years experience in testing enterprise class backup and restore applications, and he's been primarily focused on the storage domain. He has worked testing different NAS boxes like Hitachi NAS, IBM SONAS, Harmonic Media Grid Server, etc. And he has also worked on different file and block serving protocols like CIFS, NFS, iSCSI, NDMP, FTP. So Virendra, this very interesting topic, very technical. Let's get into it. So, fundamental question: Why is Python preferred for automation?
So Mark, before answering about Python automation, let's first we talk about the automation activity as such. So why automation is required and what are the trends about automation and everything. So gone are the days when everyone just executing the test cases manually. Right now, if you see in 4 or 5 years of trends, most of the QA activity is going through the automation activity. So all your manual stuff is now moving into your automation frameworks and everything. Now, what is actually test automation is, we can divide basically in our automation in 3 main scopes. It depends on your requirements basically. So if I divide it in 3 parts, the first one is enterprise oriented test automation, second is product oriented test automation, and third one is project oriented test automation.
Correct.
So enterprise related automation means, suppose you have one company and you are driving more than one products, and if you want to automate your test scenarios in a way that you can run your automation for all these products, so you have to design your framework in a way that it will support all these kinds of product. So that is known as your enterprise oriented test automation.
Okay.
Second one is product oriented test automation. It basically means, suppose if you have only one product and you are planning to automate your test scenarios for that product only, so you have to take the consideration about your product only, how the functionality behaves, how it works. Accordingly, you have to design your test strategy and automate your things.
Correct.
Third one is basically project oriented. Suppose in one product we have certain modules, and for a particular module you have to write your automation, so you have to take the consideration about that particular module only, so that it will support your test automation only for that module. So these are the main 3 scopes of your automation. Now I want to talk something about automation myths. Somebody says that automation is only required for regression, but it's not the case. You can definitely write or use your automation for new functionalities, new test cases as well. So you have to design your automation in a way that it will support for further enhancement as well.
Okay, so that's on automation. So now tell us, where is Python coming into the picture?
Yeah. So in automation, you have to choose 1 or 2 particular language to write your automation. So you have to choose your scripting language or your development language in a way that it supports all your functionalities and it should be usable. Now, there are many scripting language available in the market, like earlier shell scripting was there, then Perl scripting was there. But now in 4 or 5 years, if you look at the trends, if I reckon that around 1/3 of your automation or development activity is going through Python. Why Python? Because it has some unique features which other scripting language doesn't have.
Like what?
Like software quality. In software quality, if you see for a user's perspective, so readability is very useful for users, and it's very easy in Python to do. So first thing is that. Second is your productivity, like the syntax, like your dynamic typing. So all these stuffs are very, very easy in Python other than other languages. Even if you see, suppose if I want to automate a particular scenario in Java, and if it takes 100 lines of code, in Python you can do in 1/3. So that part is also there. Now portability, it's a portable language. If you write your Python script, it will support on Windows as well, on Linux as well. So it's a platform independent language, and you can port your code onto any platform. Also, it has some extended library support. So on library part, definitely our today's session is regarding that. So it has very unique libraries available, extensive code is available. So suppose if you think any scenario where you have to write any new code, and if you see in Python, you can get those modules and library easily. Even for the documentation part, you can see if you require any help. So there are many documents available, many online Google sites available for Python. So if you go for Python, then it's very easy for users to develop. So that's why Python is preferred right now other than other languages.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, now you've mentioned that we're getting into today's topic. What is Paramiko and where does all of this fit into the whole picture?
Today we will discuss about Paramiko module. As I already mentioned that Python has extensive library support. So inbuilt modules and libraries are already written. So suppose in a scenario where you have a client server kind of architecture where your server is there and you have to connect your various clients, like Linux clients are there, Windows clients are there, and you want to connect them, and after that you have to test your functionality for a server. Then you require some type of application or some type of module which support this functionality. So if we take example of Linux client, so Python supports and Python gives many options for that, and Paramiko is one of them. You can use Paramiko module, you can install it, and after installing that module on your system, you can connect to your Linux client, because Paramiko module basically supports SSH-v2 protocol. If your server is a SSH server is running on your machine, then definitely you can use Paramiko module. Now, likewise, Paramiko, there are other modules also available in Python, like pexpect is one of them, or shutil is also there. So Paramiko is basically very easy to use. It gives you very flexible outputs, like system error will be reported in a different function. Your standard output will go into a standard function. Your std in will go into a different function. So it's very easy for users to understand what is the output, where is the input, what are the errors after executing the commands. That's why Paramiko module is preferred over other modules.
Okay, you mentioned about the Linux module, right? Obviously, now today's topic being the Windows module. What are the issues with existing Python modules for Windows?
So as I already mentioned, Paramiko module works for SSH-v2 protocol. So if your server is running SSH service on their system, you can use Paramiko module. Now for Windows system, if I want to connect, then we require some other modules to connect it, like PyWinRM is one and WMI is the second. But one may face so many issues with these modules. These modules are error prone. Some open bugs are already there, like timeout session, sometimes authentication error, sometimes you are not able to authenticate to a particular session. So these kinds of issues are there in existing Python Windows modules. So you can use Paramiko module for Windows Server as well. As I already mentioned, how? Because Paramiko module works for SSH protocol. So if SSH server can be enabled on any Windows machine, you can use Paramiko module easily on that system. So that's why Paramiko module can be used for Windows machines as well.
Okay. What is freeSSHd and why is it preferred over other applications for the SSH server?
So as I have already mentioned, for Windows Server, if user want to use Paramiko module, then definitely user has to enable SSH service on a Windows box. So there are so many applications available to run SSH service on Windows systems, like OpenSSH is there, Cygwin is also there, and third one is freeSSHd is there. So for Cygwin and OpenSSH, basically the issue is usability wise, you don't have any GUI. Suppose a Windows user want to use any application, so he or she is comfortable for a GUI tool. But if you use OpenSSH or Cygwin, then you don't have any GUI tool to enable it. So it's very difficult for Windows users to use these kinds of application to enable the SSH service. If we use freeSSHd, then it's very easy. If I talk about the installable, the installation file have around 176 KB of size, which is very small in size, and installation part is very easy. User has to just double click it and after that the instruction you have to follow. So there are 2-3 things comes in here into picture. You require only one Windows machine, your installable file, and your admin rights to enable your port 22. So these are the only 3 prerequisites. After double clicking it, it will ask you for where to install, and after that you have to generate the private key. You have to look into that feature particular. While installing, you have to generate your private keys while installing only, and you do not have to select as a system service. So user has to manually select that application to enable your SSH server. So once the SSHd installed on your system, just double click it. After that, it will come into your system tray. In that, you can open your GUI tool. In that GUI tool, you can enable your SSH server by clicking it. And for a particular user, you have to create in the users tab. There you can create your user like administrator, and after that you can give what service you want to enable. Now in our case, we have to enable the SSH service, so you have to click on that service. So user administrator is now having the SSH service enabled on your Windows system. So these are the freeSSHd details. After that, once your SSHd service is running on your Windows system, you can connect to that Windows machine using Paramiko module.
Okay, brilliant. Do you want to throw some more light on the components of freeSSHd?
Yeah, so components are very simple. Actually, it's a very simple installable file, just a exe file. You have to download that exe file from their site. You can just click on that and you can download it on your Windows system. Installation wise, if you talk about, so it's very easy, as I already mentioned, because it's a exe file and you have to just double click it, and after that you have to follow all the instruction. And after that, a GUI tool is already available to you, which is very user friendly, and you can enable your SSH service as you want. And after that, it's very easy for any user to use Paramiko module as well to connect to that Windows machine, and it's very simple.
So to encapsulate then, Virendra, what you're saying is obviously you can, or for QA automation, you're looking at other aspects other than regression too. You're looking at Python as the most widely used tool, and how you're plugging the Paramiko module into Windows automation, correct?
Yes, definitely. So conclusion wise, if you ask me, like in a scenario where you have particular one server and you have various clients, like Windows clients are there, Linux clients are there. So in a client server architecture, so every time if you don't have one code, then user has to write a separate code for connecting a separate client. Like if user want to connect to a Linux client, then they have to use a separate code. And if they want to connect to a Windows client, then they have to write a separate code if they use different modules. So what they can do, they can use only one module, Paramiko, which supports Linux clients as well. And if SSH server is running on Windows machine, then it supports Windows clients as well. So it's very easy to develop a new code to connect to a various clients using a same module. So that's why I prefer that module to use for these kinds of architecture. And in any enterprise level architecture, if you see, these kinds of scenarios are very common. So going into different part of codes, just write only one module, or just use only one module, write your code and use it for your automation. That's it.
So holistically, can you say that the use of the Paramiko module would expedite product development?
Yes, that's exactly what I want to say. Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So that ends our podcast for today. Virendra, it was great having you on the show. Thank you for taking us through such a deep dive on such a technical topic.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
For any feedback that you may have, or for any questions that you would like us to answer, you may write to us at marketing@calsoftinc.com. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.